You're not alone if you've ever been distracted, nervous, or perplexed by why certain people appear to be so present everywhere they go. My name is Lerta. What I'm about to reveal could alter your perspective on not only cognitive retention, but also the energy that underlies every idea and activity. We're going to go into great detail about how this inner strength may change your relationships, your self-confidence, and even how the world responds to you. So stay tuned until the very end. I see now that one of the most intriguing secrets of the whole retention exercise is revealed. It is not only about conserving energy in the physical sense, but also about realizing that this energy can influence far more delicate aspects of our lives. I, Lerta, see how this process intensifies and expands our auric field, creating a sort of energetic signature that we take with us wherever. As if guided by an invisible radar that picks up this new level of frequency, I have seen innumerable instances where the stories are repeated. Women who show interest or, at the very least, act differently. Men who were previously unnoticed start to notice the curiosity of those around them. Since we are discussing more control over our own auric field when we discuss retention, that makes perfect sense to me. It seems as though by ceasing to waste our vital force, we start an internal mechanism that nourishes every aspect of who we are, increasing the density and magnetic pull of our presence. The fact that gyms are common places for this kind of experience doesn't surprise me. After all, there is a great concentration of bodies and energies in motion, and when someone with a high vibration shows up out of the blue, it's as though the normal dynamic is disrupted and draws attention, and various feelings. I think that the mix of strength and mystery is what draws so much attention, rather than just the idea of strength alone. It appears that the one who keeps fosters a specific environment of calm and self-assurance, which when combined produce a sense of security. Because it's not often that someone walks around with such well-nourished energy, this contrast tends to pique curiosity. This seems to be especially true for women, who are inherently more sensitive in the emotional and energetic realm. It all begins with looks that last a bit longer than usual, slower steps, and individuals attempting to strike up a conversation for no apparent reason. I've read accounts of people experiencing this attraction on their skin on multiple occasions. However, I constantly tell everyone who approaches me one basic fact. This energy can also draw in others who are searching for food if it is not understood. A lighthouse can draw people who simply want to enjoy the illumination, much like it does sailors looking for a safe harbor at night. As a result, I like to stress how important it is to become aware of one's own energy field. Simply retaining information is insufficient. We also need to comprehend how this retention impacts our mental and physical health and, most importantly, how we engage with people. I frequently remark that retention is a weapon for ascension, but managing any powerful tool responsibly is necessary. If they are not paying attention, they can succumb to attacks from those who do not want to change. Just take in this newfound vitality. In a setting where few people have access to such a rare material, it feels as though you are carrying something incredibly valuable. The important thing is that retention raises the vibrational field, which functions as an imperceptible signal that is audible from a distance. I always bring up a chat I had with a friend who began practicing a few months ago when I discussed this subject. He said that he used to feel nearly invisible in busy places, but that after approximately 40 days of being retained, he started to realize that people were staring at him differently. It appeared like he was just another person in the crowd before, but now he radiated something that he couldn't put into words. He described this feeling as an expanded presence, as though it were occupying more space in the surroundings, not in an obtrusive manner, but rather in an energizing sense. This expansion, in my opinion as Lerta, is basically the internal circulation and accumulation of vital energy that is no longer being wasted. The auric field is one of the pathways via which this force can express itself once you cease constantly emptying it. Blind faith is not necessary to comprehend this phenomenon. All you need to do is look at the outcomes in your own life, or in the lives of those who have already traveled this path. It is something that shows up in practice. It is not meaningless mysticism. Even if they are not aware of it, those around you sense that something is different. This vibration, which resonates at a higher frequency level and wakes attention, is what I consider to be vitality in its purest form. This always entails looks and expressions of curiosity or interest, but it doesn't necessarily lead to direct compliments or obvious attempts. Because they are unable to come up with a rational explanation for the new magnetism, men who don't grasp what's going on often even inquire as to whether you're exercising more or taking any supplements. At other occasions, women exhibit curiosity or deference that they themselves find difficult to describe. They seem to convey this unseen signal that we can all sense to some extent, but that science isn't always able to quantify. However, I want to make it clear that this is not a magic bullet that will draw everyone's attention. Conversely, some people respond with jealousy, mistrust, or even violence. You become more noticeable to everyone, including those with bad intentions, when your energy field is robust. At this point, a lot of individuals detect something odd. Old acquaintances, unexpected, suspicious interests, or even provocative situations may show up. Your light shines when you withhold, but not everyone who sees this is looking out for you. It is important to remember that your critical energy needs to be protected, just like any other precious item. The image of someone discovering a very rare gem in the midst of a desert is something I love to compare to this. The discovery is amazing, but soon others will arrive, some trying to take control, others wanting to cooperate. Additionally, the best defense is self-awareness and knowledge of the energy exchange systems. Thus, it's critical to practice psychic self-defense skills like maintaining composure, learning when to say no, and resisting the need to accept every offer or line that comes your way. Admittedly, I also see how closely this relates to our public behavior. It's easy to fall into the ego trap if we begin to see that we're receiving more attention. To boost our ego, we could become fixated on enhancing this shine or believe we are superior to others. However, there is always a chance of getting lost on this route. The real power of retention, in my opinion, resides in humility and the realization that, while we are generating interest and broadening our energy field, we must do so while maintaining an attitude of integrity, respect, and internal equilibrium. By keeping the field free from tainted by petty motives, this coherence of values and attitudes contributes to its continued harmony. I like to conceive of the auric field as a silent extension of our body when I think about it. Retention acts as an energetic speaker, so to speak, that broadens the scope of this communication. But depending on how we control our own energy, this speaker can communicate both a lovely song and noise and distortion. For this reason, I am adamant that retention is not the only solution. It needs to be coupled with self-awareness exercises, meditation, or at the very least, a thorough examination of our goals and priorities. I've witnessed people who hold back in order to demonstrate their authority wind up drawing controversy. However, I have also witnessed instances where people who went through this process in search of spiritual elevation, balance, and inner purification experienced the amazing benefits of peace, respect, and truly loving relationships. In daily practice, vibration can take many different forms. In terms of relationships, many report that the quality of conversations improves, as if the person attracts not only deeper dialogues, but also deeper ones. Some say that their voice gets firmer or deeper. Others realize that they don't need to speak so loudly to be heard. And some people are just surprised when someone says, "You look different, I don't know what, but you do." Since women are particularly adept at absorbing subtleties of energy and emotion, they appear to sense this shift almost instinctively. In the end, practically all of them recognize that something is unusual, even if they are unable to immediately describe it. Some take a direct approach, while others just use subtle cues. I recall an incident where a friend approached a colleague who had been practicing retention for months and said, "You are sending a very positive energy. I don't know how to describe it. It seems like I trust you just by being by your side." This anecdote struck a chord with me because it demonstrates that retention may boost people's self-esteem and general well-being, in addition to generating romantic or sexual engagement. This illustrates that our vibration is emotive, spiritual, and mental in addition to sexual. We end up having a beneficial impact on numerous levels when we transform into a source of renewed vitality. The main point of this chapter, in my opinion, is to show that retention is not just an abstract concept. Rather, it shows itself in very tangible ways in daily interactions and how we use spaces. We don't need to tell everyone that we use retention techniques. At the same time, we just start to project a more resolute and hospitable aura. Our whole existence seems to be communicating that we are in harmony, feeling less anxious and more energized. Finding someone who takes care of their own life force is as uncommon as finding a stream of clean water in the desert in a world full of stimulation and distractions that sap our energy. When someone demonstrates this alignment, it naturally attracts the attention of those seeking something similar. There is a communal yearning for energy and purpose. Since this attention can be utilized either constructively to motivate others or manipulatively, which is contrary to the retention concept of elevation, I always advocate humility and empathy at this moment. I believe that this entire dynamic emphasizes how crucial it is to be psychologically ready. If not, one could make the mistake of providing this energy to everybody who expresses interest, wasting all the effort put into retention in return for ephemeral moments. I have heard tales of guys losing control of their ejaculatory habits due to euphoria brought on by increased female attention. This has the opposite impact, as they quickly find themselves back where they started, lacking the energy, assertiveness, and magnetic presence they had worked so hard to develop. I like to emphasize the idea of accountability as a result. We are discussing something that influences our internal system and how we interact with the outside world, not merely an exterior phenomena. Retention is a call to deepen our understanding of the flow of our energy and our impact on the places we traverse. This awareness reminds us to use our strength in a positive and elevating way and keeps us from losing ourselves in delusions of power. The understanding that this is not magic or a quick fix for every insecurity is another essential component. Although practice awakens our potential, we still need to address our repressed emotions, limiting beliefs, and shadows. We must build on self-awareness because the expanding aura will reveal our strengths and weaknesses. Simultaneously, this makes us more sensitive to outside energy and helps us identify those with questionable motives. Get ready to be astonished by the hidden strength that resides inside you. Alchemy of the Gods, my new book, explores transformative themes including gaining spiritual liberation, activating crystalline oil, and waking Kundalini. This is the ultimate manual if you wish to gain access to ideas that transcend the commonplace and steer your development into a higher state of awareness. The best part is that you can explore this cosmos from anywhere, because Alchemy of the Gods is available in print, digital, and audiobook editions. To get yours now, click the link in the description and pinned remark. First, though, I have some unexpected news for you. The Semen Retention Success Path is the ultimate manual you've been looking for if you're prepared to change your life and take your energies to new heights. I compiled the 6 main elements of semen retention's content into an audiobook that is jam-packed with insightful knowledge for your growth. Get ready for an unconventional voyage of self-discovery and personal development. Imagine regaining your vitality, developing deeply and permanently, and unlocking a vast amount of essential energy. This audiobook is a master key that unlocks doors to a new degree of achievement and fulfillment, not merely a source of knowledge. There's more. A 30% discount on my exclusive ebook, The Art of Semen Retention for Men, which contains 20 additional pages of potent techniques for your spiritual evolution, personal development, emotional balance, self-awareness and self-development, spiritual connection, and life purpose, is yours when you buy the Semen Retention Success Path. This bundle will assist you in realizing your full potential and provide you with the means to better direct your energy. For those who wish to support this work and go even farther, I now want to offer another amazing option. You can become a major supporter and get exclusive YouTube perks by visiting the new members button on the channel. You will inspire me to consistently provide more news, unique content, and all the energy required to carry on with this personal development project, in addition to benefits like priority in lives and highlights in the comments. Don't miss this opportunity. Get a discount on the Art of Semen Retention for Men ebook, Secure Your Semen Retention Success Path to discover how to unleash genuine inner strength, and get Alchemy of the Gods to learn more about Kundalini, crystalline oil, and spiritual liberation. Then join this dynamic community by becoming a member of the channel. The links are waiting for you in the description and pinned comment. Now is your chance to become more energetic, change your life, and discover a new way to feel fulfilled. We can sense when someone is trying to contribute or suck, and what was previously invisible now becomes evident. Thus, it becomes evident that retention is a means of achieving spiritual growth, emotional maturity, and mastery of one's own talents rather than a ploy. With every step, we learn to channel this power into more admirable goals, whether they be our own personal development or assisting others in their quest for self-awareness. It is important to keep in mind that not all attraction dynamics are romantic or sexual. Additionally, retention might lead to meetings with others who share our new attitude, business relationships, and professional chances. As if the cosmos was working in the favor of people who cherish and take care of their own vital energy. I have heard tales of people who had doors open in a peculiar way after beginning to retain. All of this demonstrates the depth of this chapter, since it goes beyond merely providing a theoretical explanation of the auric body's operation to include real-world instances and implications. I typically advise trying anything if you're unsure. Keep it in place for a long time and see how people respond. Save your reports and make a mental note of the minute shifts in how interactions take place. In this sense, there is no guidebook that can take the place of first-hand knowledge. Everyone must experience it firsthand in order to completely comprehend it. When they learn that the phenomena is not an isolated incident, many are impressed. Maintaining retention strengthens the aura and makes it almost a person's brand. Sometimes, if you quit the exercise, you will realize that you get less attention or that your obvious charm slowly fades. This serves as a reminder that retention calls for continual upkeep, because without consistent work, there can be no lasting benefit. In my opinion, this process is comparable to energetic bodybuilding. Without persistence, we cannot sustain an expanded auric field, just as we cannot remain muscular indefinitely without training. For this reason, I always advise people to view retention as a lifestyle choice rather than a short-term experiment. Timing is another intriguing problem. Some people detect changes more slowly, while others notice effects more rapidly. This differs from person to person and also depends on the individual's starting circumstances, including any underlying addictions, elevated stress levels, or health issues. The key is to keep going until the mind and body adjust to the new way of handling sexual energy. Additionally, motivation increases at this moment because there is nothing more motivating than witnessing the outcomes in action. Nothing inspires me more than seeing before and after photos, seeing how someone who was formerly demoralized and lacking in self-worth suddenly feels confident and seizes possibilities they once feared. I would like to emphasize that the main lesson of this chapter is that the magnetism created by retention is not limited to a simple seduction tactic. Rather, it is a state of higher vibration that permeates every part of our lives, bringing with it people, situations, and, in certain cases, challenges that push us to grow. In the end, we are discussing how critical energy might be wisely used and stored to support a longer life. Although this subject is frequently disregarded or discussed in passing in conversations about sexuality, I believe it is crucial to comprehending why so many people attempt to practice retention and why they report drastic changes in their lifestyle. Though individuals that practice know that there is something substantial and concrete in the way exchanges occur after a certain amount of time of storing energy, I occasionally hear claims that all of this is a placebo or a fabrication of mind. Without the man having to speak, some women even claim to sense this different masculine force in their surroundings. They seem to be able to identify someone who is vibrating in a higher range than usual nearly instantly. It is crucial to keep in mind that this power is not there to manipulate or boost our ego in these situations. If we use it properly, it is there to support our evolutionary path. After all, depending on how we use it, sexual energy may be just as destructive as it is constructive. We broaden our awareness and discover ways to express this creativity in our work, relationships, art, and spirituality when we hold on to it and allow it to circulate throughout our bodies. I believe this chapter provides a clear explanation of why retention functions as a frequency catalyst. In science, catalysts are compounds that speed up chemical reactions without getting eaten. In this case, retention speeds up our internal transformation without depleting our energy. Instead, it conserves and reroutes our energy to allow us to radiate it more powerfully, much like a field that grows and transmits more powerful signals. Furthermore, feedback from those in our immediate vicinity consistently validates this phenomenon, so this sign is not merely theoretical. Since not everyone is able to handle the additional attention or the responsibility of carrying stronger energy, I can't help but notice that this awakens fears for some people. What if I don't want all this exposure? Some people ask. Or, what if the advances make me feel invaded? However, self-control, the capacity to set boundaries and maintain your attention on your own development, comes into play in this situation. Instead of becoming a slave to appearances, the goal is to use this new reality as motivation to keep improving. Attracting attention is not a guarantee of happiness, just as it does not address profound emotional issues. This vitality must be maintained by an inner integrity. I observe that this chapter also serves as a reminder of our obligation to foster equilibrium. We must develop healthy habits, including meditation, exercise, eating a balanced diet, and in many circumstances, even seeking therapy or assistance to process the strong sensations that may happen, as our aura becomes more sensitive to other people's energy. Alongside magnetism, it is not unusual for suppressed interior problems to surface. The individual may suffer from worry, insomnia, or extreme mental agitation if they are unable to cope with them. All of this is included in the bundle because without confronting our inner selves, we cannot evolve. Therefore, this process is an invitation to examine oneself and recognize the interdependence of the bodily, emotional, and spiritual bodies. If we wish to achieve long-lasting effects, retention cannot be approached as a standalone strategy. It is a component of a broader collection of activities and contemplations meant to enhance our overall quality of life. This chapter, in my opinion, supports the notion that retention is about adopting a way of living that prioritizes self-mastery, awareness, and respect for oneself over merely holding on to semen. I become really inspired when I see someone take this road because of this. Verifiable evidence that we still have the option to strive inside ourselves to genuinely broaden our light in a society that seems to promote excess and instant fulfillment. And as our internal evolution progresses, this light becomes discernible, recognized, and radiated via the auric field. When we get this, we see that every retention step has an impact overseas, drawing in individuals and circumstances that support or challenge our mission. We have the opportunity to deepen our beliefs, develop our ability to manage various forms of energy, and possibly encourage others to examine themselves. For all of these reasons, this chapter emphasizes the fact that retention is a far more complicated technique than it first seems. It focuses on the core of who we are, and emphasizes the fact that we take care of our essence when we take care of our seed. Since active communication comes before any words or gestures, those in the vicinity are aware of this concern. The fantastic notion, in my opinion, is realizing that when we store our own energy, we are intentionally choosing to increase our inner light, which in turn affects how the outside world perceives us. Nothing stays at the level of ideas alone, since the subtle field shows itself in every encounter, glance, and response we get. In this sense, retention turns out to be more than just a straightforward idea. It's an active experience that calls on everyone to realize the power of their presence when they don't waste the innate energy that has been bestowed upon them. And this call resonates in every area we occupy, demonstrating that, yes, people do notice when we change, even if they are unsure of how to label that shift. We who walk this path know that this transformation is known as the emergence of inner strength, which manifests as an aura that grows more vibrant, captivating, and distinct. I see how these first-hand stories serve as living evidence that holding on to seminal energy is more than just theory. It's a genuine phenomenon that influences how we connect with the outside world. Whether I was at the gym, strolling down the street, or just shopping in a store, I, Laerta, have already been in circumstances where I was taken aback by the impromptu way that people responded around me. There were glances that followed me around, remarks that made me stand out, and occasionally even insignificant advances that put my posture to the test in the face of so much unanticipated attention. I saw that it was about the inner strength that radiated from the inside out, not about anything aesthetic, therefore none of this looked ordinary. I started to see that when we intensify our vibration, it becomes nearly indiscernible and follows us around, like a constant glow. These experiences can have a significant impact on the ego because it's normal to feel a surge of pride or vanity when someone compliments you or shows interest in you. Since the thought of being seen so frequently was alluring, I had to regulate some of my own reactions to prevent being conceited. But I realized that the true motivation for retention techniques goes much beyond a need for attention. The beautiful thing about this technique is that by holding the semen, you activate a dormant energy that begins to unify body, mind, and soul, generating a kind of magnetic field that others cannot ignore. Women are especially sensitive to minor changes in posture and movements, and they frequently show real curiosity in an attempt to figure out what gives a man an air of confidence that doesn't appear contrived. After a few weeks of retention, I recall a woman at the gym approaching me and remarking openly that I appeared to have a different face and exuded security and serenity. That surprised me because I didn't think anyone would express what I was starting to feel in such a way. However, I also observed that other individuals had hidden agendas, as though the novelty of seeing me so open and self-assured was an invitation to sate fleeting cravings. As a result, it is crucial to stay focused and have a clear goal, since the energy we create can draw in both people who wish to grow with us and those who are merely interested in enjoying that vibration without making any commitments. I like to think of these situations as excellent character tests. I don't necessarily have the attention of everyone around me just because I spark curiosity. When they sensed that my aura was stronger, some people tried to strike up a discussion with me, while others were afraid or even jealous. The significance of spiritual discipline, which teaches me to distinguish between those who are genuinely on my road and those who are merely looking to satiate fleeting desires, became clear to me at that point. If I waste this high energy on the first temptations that come my way, I will regress to the previous level and lose all of the hard work and devotion I have put into this. I gained the wisdom to calmly assess each connection that formed, avoid confusing sympathy with genuine affinity, and maintain my humility when receiving praise because I realized that they are only a gauge of something greater and an indication that the dedication to retention is producing improvements, favorable. I would rather view these compliments and appearances as evidence of the potential that every one of us have when we maintain our vital power, rather than as a way to stroke our egos. The sensation of this transition itself is akin to an inward awakening, as though you were uncovering potentialities you had not yet completely utilized. Friends have told me they were terrified they wouldn't know how to handle this newfound fascination, particularly when they were surrounded by individuals who were inviting them in ways they couldn't have before. However, when the body, mind, and spirit are in harmony, we tend to make decisions that are more consistent with our development. Therefore, I think this is where confidence in the process and a connection to something greater must play a role. At times, I even thought about agreeing to some suggestions that may destroy everything, but I was more motivated by the reasons I chose to hold back. The much deeper joy of continuing to feel this harmony on all levels is far greater than momentary happiness. I can see how this can turn into a chance to share something positive, rather than getting caught up in power struggles or worrying too much about applause when someone who hardly knows me comes in to ask for advice and express doubts about my confidence secret. One may encourage, mentor, and demonstrate that this energy is not exclusive to either and can be accessed by anybody who is prepared to put in the required effort. I've also witnessed even more severe responses, where someone's curiosity evolved into neediness or hurried attempts to form relationships. In these situations, it's crucial to assess the person's vibration and resist the need to use their magnetism only to boost your own self-esteem. I recall how tempting it was to let things happen without giving it much thought, but I came to see how important it was to question myself if it was truly worth it, or if I was just allowing things happen to get attention. This process of screening what enters and exits our lives and giving priority to more meaningful and intentional interactions is exactly what it means to remain steadfast in retention. As I think back on these events, I see that the same discipline I used to contain the semen should be used to resist the temptation to waste my energy in unsatisfactory relationships or circumstances where the exchange would not be fair. For this reason, I usually emphasize that it's important to remember why we chose this course of action. I remind myself of the advantages of maintaining my strength in the physical, spiritual, and emotional domains with every compliment or suggestion that comes up. Even when the setting was intense, I felt a sense of inner serenity, as if led by something greater, and the attitude surrounding me appeared lighter. This energy, in my opinion, arises from the body and spirit being in harmony, which turns any space into a platform for presence and firmness expressions. In a sense, realizing how other people view and are affected by this transformation makes me even more accountable, since it's not just about me anymore. It's also about the example I set. Over time, I came to see that my greatest advantage of being so well known was not to brag, but to take advantage of the opportunity to motivate others who are genuinely interested. Since we no longer need to use deceptive tactics or manipulation to draw someone in, I like to believe that retention teaches you how to build stronger relationships. It is a state of being that inherently inspires curiosity and self-assurance, but we must decide how to use this chance. The most remarkable lesson I've learned from all of this is that when properly channeled, the energy can elevate the practitioner in every manner, fostering adoration, respect, and meaningful interactions. The fact that you stand out from the crowd might present obstacles, but the same energy that draws these difficulties also makes it easier for us to conquer them. This does not imply that everything will be sunshine and roses. Every actual circumstance I've encountered has made me question if I'm prepared to handle this kind of attention. But I've also seen that the universe seems to work in my favor when it's deliberate. Therefore, I don't fool myself into believing that we are unbeatable because of our magnetic presence. She merely serves as a reminder that our purpose is bigger than giving in to fleeting desires or appeasing our ego. Being humble becomes crucial in order to stay on course. This is precisely why I assert that these first-hand accounts, no matter how highly regarded they may appear, are primarily educational. I felt evidence that I wasn't dreaming, and that this practice actually produces tangible results every time someone made a comment about my aura or inquired about the source of that something different. In a similar vein, every meeting put my capacity to concentrate to the test and served as a reminder that all of this attention is a necessary step toward my own development rather than an end in and of itself. In the midst of the excitement of attention, I found inspiration to continue on my path of self-improvement and grew increasingly appreciative of my ability to channel my sexual urges into fuel for introspection. When I heard that my presence conveyed security, I realized that there were many other aspects involved as well, in addition to the physical ones, that arise when we engage with a spiritual discipline. I came to respect deeper and more real interactions as a result of my growing ability to discern between true interest and that fleeting attraction motivated by lack or ego. This retention-stimulated spontaneous selection of links gave me comfort and the assurance that the more powerful our energy, the more prudent we must be in its application. Life seems to be testing us to determine whether we are prepared to take use of what the practice has to offer, or whether we will squander this potential on pointless interactions. I prefer to end this contemplation by keeping in mind that, despite the sincere excitement generated by praise and additional attention, the goal of retention is still the integral elevation of being, the pursuit of a balance that harmonizes body, mind, and spirit. When we consider the journey, we see that every compliment is merely an external validation of what we already knew on the inside. Retention encourages a change from the inside out, igniting numb forces and leaving positive marks in every environment we play in. The ego may even want to feed on this moment,